A naked 70-year-old man. Jack saves the day again. Thor's an alien, and Tilk has a family. All tonight on Chevron Locked. Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of Chevron Locked. My name is BC. I'm joined, as always, Kevin. Kevin, how you doing, bud?
Doing good.
Tonight, we are looking at episodes 10, 11, and 12. That would be Thor's Hammer, Torment of Tantalus, and Bloodlines. 3 amazing episodes. Actually, 2 amazing episodes, I think, but we'll get into that.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, there was one of them there that we'll talk about that I just did not care for whatever reason, and I got plenty of reasons, actually.
Can't wait to hear them.
It's been a good week. We got, we should be completely up on iTunes now. Should be completely up on Google Play. Where else did we post, Kevin? Google Play, iTunes, and YouTube. We have a YouTube channel now as well.
That's right.
Twitter is up and running. I haven't really posted anything to that, though. I'm not much of a Twitter guy. This is going to be a new experience for me. I can do Facebook. I do Facebook with friends and family and stuff, but Twitter is a whole new animal for me. I don't know if you have much experience in it.
Not that much. I keep changing my Twitter handle and deleting my account. I just don't understand how it works.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, it seems like it's incredibly popular with famous people, I guess. Not even famous people, even athletes or YouTube channels that I follow. It seems like the content creators tend to use Twitter, and I understand why. I mean, you can send out a little brief, "Hey, this is up now," or I think in theory it's actually a pretty decent way to keep in contact with like a large community.
Yeah, it's decent for tiny ideas.
Yeah. That's the weird thing is that's because I ramble. I ramble when I text. I ramble when I write. I ramble when I talk. So.
I would not have guessed that. No.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I know. I ramble when I'm talking to my dog. I think at some point through that conversation, which is it weird that I have a conversation with my dog, but he even looks at me and asks me to shut up at some time. So, yeah, Twitter's weird. So, Thor's Hammer. Kevin, why don't you just go ahead and take it, man? Walk us through Thor's Hammer. Tell me why you loved it, because I got a feeling you did love it.
I did. I love this episode. It's such a setup episode, but it was, I don't know. I mean, they start off, they are offered this chance by Teal'c, the drug dealer, to go to a planet that the Goa'uld won't go to because they keep getting wrecked. And they get there, and they get wrecked. I don't know why they thought anything else would happen. But it's a good setup. They get introduced to the image of Thor. They find their way through the maze, and they fight the Unas, which is our first introduction to them. And, they're the good guys. They win in the end. I love this episode. It's the first time we get the hint that the gate builders are not the Goa'uld, and we get a little more in the world because of that. The world gets a little bit bigger. The thought of Thor being an alien was just spectacular, and we get to see him, quote unquote, standing there. Fantastic episode. I really loved it. Now let's pick it apart.
Well, I do agree with you. I actually did have a lot of fun watching that episode. So, issue number 1 is if that Goa'uld did forbid people from going, or other Goa'ulds in Jaffa from going to that planet, I think that would have been a hesitation on saying, hey, let's leave Teal'c here. Maybe there's a reason that they didn't want to go. Like, maybe they just die instantly upon, going through the gate to that planet for whatever reason.
Yeah. Hashtag no shit Sherlock. Like, I don't understand what they thought was going to happen when Teal'c came with them, and then Teal'c got attacked. Yeah, Teal'c is a Jaffa. He works for the Goa'uld. Nobody's going to know the difference.
Correct. And sometimes common sense. Now, I understand you have to do certain things to provide a plot and whatever, but
oh yeah, it's the power of the plot.
Yeah, But I thought that was a little questionable even before, because I had totally forgotten about this episode, to be honest with you. So I thought that was a little BS. Overall, I thought it was a great episode, and I completely agree with you that we got a lot of hints of things to come. Especially with Thor, especially like you said, that we kind of get our first introduction that the gold, like they said, they're parasitic, you know, they basically live off of everyone else, you know, whether that be their bodies or the work or their technology, that it really does show that there's somebody else out there that built those gates for whatever reason. So I thought that was great. I actually liked that they went with like a very traditional Norse version of Thor, like the hologram, you know?
Yep.
He looked very, very Viking-ish, if you will. Thought that was great. What else really dug into that? We got our look at, who was the Kendra? Kendra, was that her name?
Yeah.
The former gold that went through?
Yep.
Okay.
Galen Gorg. Yeah.
Okay. We got to look at her. We got, found out that there is this way now to remove the symbiote safely from a person, which immediately, we go right into a Daniel part of the episode where he immediately gets the idea that, well, if it worked for her, it's going to work for his wife, and then Jack clearly has the same thought about Skara, that if it worked for her, it's going to work for him.
Yeah, I thought it was great that we get from her that the host does remember and retain memories while the gold are in there. And I get a feeling because we see her use the device to heal that little boy, that she also retains some of the memories of the Goa'uld, or at least her time during that, which is just spectacular. I
agree. That, and the other part of that they brought up that I thought was pretty neat is that how she talks about how she influenced her Goa'uld to go there, that she didn't know what was on the other side. She was just ready for death.
No,
she was ready for an escape.
That was suicide.
Yeah, she just did not want to be in that place anymore. So I thought that was kind of a cool concept. I know that Daniel had always talked about whether or not some part of the host remains, during a Goa'uld taking over. So I thought that was really cool that not only does some of her humanity remain intact, but she's also able to just almost Jedi mind trick. Goa'uld going through there. So
funny you should say that.
Why? What's up?
Well,
what do you got?
When they're in the labyrinth there, the Unas they're fighting, you know who the voice of that was, right?
Yes. Yeah, I was going to talk about that. Yeah.
Yep. So man. James Earl Jones, man, he's everywhere.
He really is, and not only is he everywhere, but he's everywhere specific to just being like
menacing.
Well, yeah, menacing. But I was going to say like the first of every evil thing, but I guess he really wasn't in Star Wars.
No, he's Mufasa and Lion King too.
Damn,
really
it was
cool.
Mufasa and Lion King. You know what though? Pardon me. If you're looking for that sound, if you're looking for that voice of just, I would almost say
commanding,
yeah, and even like this voice that holds like when you listen to him talk, I would swear I'd be like, man, this motherfucker knows everything. Like he's got a very ominous voice, but in a good and a bad way. I think that voice works in so many different levels. But and how cool is that was episode what? That's episode 10 in a series that just started, and they were able to land James Earl Jones.
Oh, absolutely.
I thought that was great. But I thought the visuals worked. There wasn't a whole lot of special effects in this particular episode.
No.
We got the initial burst of Thor's hammer, that little light thing, which clearly they didn't talk about it, but I guess it's fine. I guess it's a very nitpick that I would have thought that tractor beam, or not tractor beam, teleportation, would have only been designed to pick up and remove a Goa'uld to prevent a human from accidentally going through there,
Yeah.
Considering how... Oh, go ahead.
Well, the human can make his way through the maze and get out. There was no checks and balances. There was no one at the controls for this. So the fact that there was an Unas in there was just sort of secondary to this. It should have been an easy thing.
Yeah. No, I agree. They finally make their way through. Looks like Teal'c's going to basically sacrifice himself to get the Unas into Thor's weapon, I guess.
Yeah, the giant upvote.
Yeah, yeah. But, clearly they were able to just put just the Unas in there. Now, question. Is the Unas the race, or was that just his designation, if you will?
No, that's the whole race.
Okay.
They're the first.
Okay.
Unas.
Yeah. Gotcha. I couldn't remember for sure. Like I said, it's been so long since I watched these that...
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
That's why I love going back like this. It's been that long for me as well.
And like I said last week, it's so great to rewatch a show that you tend to forget a lot of episodes on, But so yeah, they push him in there. They presumably killed him. I think even Teal'c says something that he's not going to be able to recover from that.
Yeah, because earlier Teal'c, mentioned that there was the myth that they could heal, and then he immediately dismissed that as a myth for some reason, because apparently he's never watched a horror movie.
Yeah.
And then he did say something like it was so many years of the Unas healing that once the gold that was in it was out, it was done.
It was over. Also, I can't remember so far watching an episode where Teal'c pouted so much.
No, I know.
Like, he had no facial expression other than pouting throughout that entire episode. Even when Daniel finally destroyed the little ending part of the maze, the actual Thor's weapon part of it, I guess, He just says, thanks. There's just no expression whatsoever to him.
That was so mean to make Daniel do that. Daniel is now destroying the one thing that can save his wife.
It really was.
You made him leave and do it.
Yeah.
And this actually, we actually see them use the trigger on the staff, so I was wrong about how the staff works. We talked about that, was it 1 or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think that was 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
So we actually see the trigger mechanism. We see Teal'c try to use it when they realize the weapon's disabled. So that was good to see.
Yep. And you know what? It's not something that I caught right when watching, but now that you mention it, yeah, you definitely do get to see that, which, again, really, really cool. What else about that episode really stood out? Thank God, well, we got a little bit of a bitchy Carter.
Yep. When they were on that trek.
Yeah, when she was doubting Kendra's ability or not so much ability, but her memory.
Kendra's right there, Carter. She can hear you. Shh,
yeah.
Keep it down.
Maybe she kicks your ass. Maybe Carter needs it, man. I got a feeling I'm just not going to be a big Carter fan. I really do.
That's fine. I'll cheerlead her.
All right. I like to find fault in Carter for whatever reason. I'm not sure why yet. Maybe it'll come to me. I think we both agree. Completely good episode in terms of a standalone episode and in terms of really setting up more stuff down the road. If you were to see that episode without knowing anything down the road, that's great material that they're going to build up on. Now, clearly, I do absolutely remember Thor and the Asgardians and whatnot, but man, they did so much on that one episode to set up further seasons. Like basically in one episode, you set up stuff that's going to cover like entire seasons down the road.
Yeah.
So absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. But they do get Teal'c. Everybody goes through the gateway safely. Everybody goes home. Nobody hit the iris in this episode.
Nope. But they did lose their luggage. When we first see them leaving Earth to go to this planet, all of their stuff was on their little 6-wheel thing right in front of where the Stargate would open.
Yeah.
The Kawoosh would have taken it and would have been done.
Wait.
It was all just sitting right there. They haven't yet established that destroys everything around it in the show, or at least not consistently.
Because, okay, I thought you meant, okay, sorry, I see what you're getting at, sorry. Yeah. Because they definitely did have, because he gives her that box at the end. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in case Thor comes back.
Thor comes back.
Because he's been there at all in the last, 6,000 years. That's fine. He'll stop by.
Yeah, no, so. Overall, though, like I said, great episode. More so a great episode because of what it set up down the road, I think.
Yep.
So, episode 11, my apologies. What was episode 11? Torment of Tantalus? Yeah.
Torment of Tantalus, where we immediately get a payoff on the Norse mythology we just learned from the last episode.
We get an immediate payoff on that?
A little bit, yeah. They bring up, let's get into it, but when they find they go through the Stargate after finding out that someone has gone through back in the 40s, and he's still alive. There's 4 other races, writings on the wall there, and one of them is the Norse writing. So
Correct.
Daniel's immediately able to tell him that they're not human.
Correct.
This guy was all excited. I love seeing his face drop when Daniel was like, no, they're not human. They're aliens. Sorry, bud, you spent 70 years doing nothing.
Nothing except getting naked.
Yep.
So,
set.
the start of that episode.
Yeah.
One, didn't care for this episode at all.
Really?
I really didn't, man. I tried so hard. So, for those who haven't seen it, basically, it starts off with Daniel watching previously unreleased classified information from the Pentagon. And it is footage from, correct me here, what was that, 1945? The first time they really got the first time they got the Stargate up and running. In fact, they're having to okay, I like this, that they were manually turning the outer rings.
Yep.
To make connection. So that was kind of cool, and it kind of shows them trying to power everything on. And they finally do get it powered on. You see somebody go through, which was a typical, like, 1940s looking, like, diver suit. Almost
diving, almost like a diving bell type of thing.
To me, it almost made it either look like that they thought that there was water on the other side, just from a visual representation of, what the event horizon looks like.
Yep.
Or they assumed that there was just no oxygen over there. Or they were
no
just
way to tell.
Safe. Yeah, they didn't have the technology at that point. So, I guess my first problem with this is that there was apparently no communications with various branches of government that said, hey, we've got this Stargate, or we've got this ring, this gate, this giant ring that we powered on, that we've been working on since the mid-40s. And nobody says, oh, wait, there's footage. No. Somebody did jump on this. Somebody did actually get this thing going.
Why stop? Why wouldn't, you got it working. Why would you send one dude through once and then be like, well, we're done, and then pack it up?
Exactly. So they packed it up, assuming, because it looks like that's in the, I don't think they moved the gate, did they? Like, where they were running those tests were in the exact same mountain, correct? Am I wrong there?
No, yeah, no,
or was
I don't
it never
know
really
that we can
talked
tell
to?
from the footage, yeah.
Okay.
They didn't really mention it.
That was just my impression, that they set everything up and it was just in the exact same room.
Now I'm going to get lost in Wikipedia looking up when Cheyenne Mountain was excavated.
Yeah. Maybe it is possible that they did set that up somewhere else, and then when another branch of the government took over, that they moved that into Cheyenne Mountain. It's completely possible.
Could be.
But Catherine, and we're reintroduced to Catherine.
Different actress, but yeah.
Completely different actress. There was something about the theatrical version of Catherine that I liked a lot better.
Yeah, she was wispier, more confident.
Yeah. This one seemed like more of the crybaby side of Catherine. Yep. The confidence just wasn't there in her. Going back, Daniel sees this footage. The entire Stargate program has been told, I guess, from the very start, that it had never successfully worked. Like, they have never successfully got past, what was that, Chevron 7, right?
7.
Yeah. So Daniel, Jack are watching this, and they see that Chevron 8 locks. They see that they established to another planet. And they, like we said, they got the guy in the diving suit. He goes through, and immediately as he goes through, the Stargate shuts down, cords cut, and he is stranded. End of video. So this gets Daniel all worked up, and he immediately leaves base, goes sees Catherine. Well, leaves base with stolen classified documents,
which is fine. It's Daniel. What are they going to do?
Yeah. Again, not really biggie. Not a really big nitpick on that side. So he goes and finds Catherine, and he says, hey, at one point they did actually get this working. Shows her the footage, and she immediately recognizes it as her ex-fiance. Ernest? Is that his name?
Ernest.
Of course,
yep,
it was
Ernest
Ernest.
Littlefield.
She breaks down. She tells him that was her ex-fiance, that Ernest worked with her dad, if I remember right. And you get kind of some flashbacks of the two of them talking back in the 40s, and you kind of get the idea that Catherine kind of worked behind the scenes, almost. Like they start talking to the power fluctuations and how they can't get it going, and she talks about, you should try direct power, So,
she's already smarter than him.
yeah, we're back at SG-1, right? Daniel and Catherine are in the Situation Room looking at the Stargate. General Hammond comes in, and he's just yelling about what is she doing here. Well, what she's doing there is the fact that apparently none of your security measures work. Like, apparently Daniel can just bring whoever the fuck he wants in there. Like that.
I hadn't even thought of that.
That bothered. Yeah. I'm like, I would assume that there would be a serious checkpoint to get in there, that you would need some sort of clearance, you know? No.
Well, to be fair, she has it. She was there before. So the little grunt at the front door, I'm sure he looked at it, said, well, that's valid, and let her in.
Okay. All right. You know what? I'm going to grant you that, which still says that security measures haven't been updated.
No.
Since then.
No, not at all.
You would think that after they got it working, that you have security measures for the people that are allowed to see it, and then they get it working. I would assume that different security measures would then be put into place. Like people, like maybe not the same people are allowed back into it now that it's up and running. I don't know. They convince Hammond to let them go through there. 1, to go visit the planet. 2, because if I remember right, there's no mention of this gate address anywhere on the cartouches of Abydos, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that's how they work it. Is that Daniel, again, and I guess this goes back to the previous episode, Daniel's basically saying, well, this is a way to prove that the Goa'uld didn't build the gates. That if there was no gate address to this, that they haven't visited it, meaning they didn't build the gate. So they go through with Catherine again. Okay, I guess she can go. No training. She seems a little old to be traveling through that, but because I swear in every episode when they come out of the gate on the other side, they always are flying out of the gate.
Oh, they're shot out of it.
Yeah. So, they get there. When they show up, they're in a place that's completely in rubble. After looking around, they discover a nice 75-year-old naked man, whom we come to find out is Ernest. And we get a tour of almost like a medieval looking castle. When they did kind of do the outside pan shot of where they were, I thought the castle looked great. It was kind of built on a hillside. Visuals were great, absolutely great on that. I loved the look of it. They get to take a look around. Ernest, kind of as soon as Ernest figures out that Daniel's kind of the one that's really into the artifact side of everything, takes Daniel into this little room where what Kevin was talking about happens, where he kind of unveils this 3D holographic thing in this chamber that's got 4 separate writings on the wall. One, like we said, is Norse. The other 2, did I recognize those? Are the other 3? I can't remember if I recognize.
One of them is Asgard.
One we know.
Well, that's
yeah.
One of them is ancient, and the other 2 I didn't recognize as being anything. But if Mark was here, he'd know the other 2 races for us. It's the Nox and the Furling, I believe.
Oh, okay. Are the other 2?
Yeah.
So yeah, they basically turn this thing on, and it's a holographic projection of the periodic table, basically talking about how science is kind of the universal language, that's what those races kind of use to, that's what it kind of looked like to me, is that's what those races use to communicate with each other.
Yeah. How do you, well, not necessarily how do they communicate with each other, but how do you communicate with someone who doesn't know any basis for your language?
Correct. So we look at the elements. We know that, well, Ernest says that there's 77 elements, and she's like, no, you've been gone for 50 years. There's a lot more now. And then there was even more presented in that 3D hologram.
Yep.
So, horrible storm. The whole place is collapsing. The DHD's power source is down, right?
Yep.
They can't get the rings up and running. Jack, of all people, because Carter, where were you on that idea?
Drop the ball.
Yeah. Jack, of all people, figure out the whole Ben Franklin idea of lightning bolting this son of a bitch, which works. But Daniel being Daniel, and again, this is a problem with Daniel of mine, in many episodes, is that he puts the team at risk to learn more, which I guess really isn't necessarily a problem because it is who his character is, you know?
Oh, it absolutely, that's the whole reason he's on this team.
Yeah.
Is he's putting himself and his wife in front of everything else.
Yep. No, and I agree. Like, I get that is his character, and that's why he's there. But Jack basically has to pull him out. They get through the rings, and there's absolutely no more contact with that planet so far. But everybody's home. Ernest is home. Catherine's home. SG-1's home. But they can't communicate. If I remember right, they did try to communicate with that planet after they get back, and there's just...
They try to dial, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, yeah. So we don't know. As a viewer, we don't know if the gate got buried, if that whole castle came down, or whatever. So, now that I kind of got my version out of the way, Kevin, what were your thoughts? Did you take as much issue with this particular one as I did, or?
A little bit. And you know what? The one thing I do want to say before we get too far into this.
Yeah.
When in your little monologue there, you did say, by accident, you said Chevron 8 locked. Yeah. And it's the 7th Chevron that would have gotten him there. But it's really funny that you said that because the actor who played young Littlefield was Paul McGillen, who's in Atlantis, where the 8th Chevron would get him there. So it's kind of fortuitous.
That was a very Freudian slip then.
Yeah, it works out.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's the doctor in Atlantis.
You're absolutely right. God, man, they really did. I don't want to say reuse a lot of actors because I don't think that's a good phrasing of it, but they really did pull. It's like they hire. They just hire an actor, for a certain part, and they really like him, and they use him down the road. That guy, that must have been. When did Atlantis air? When did that start? 2003? 2002?
Ooh, yeah. Actually, it was 2005?
2005?
I want to say.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not going to look it up, but
I'm
going to go with that.
Because this one aired in 97. So that's really cool that he came back into that universe. Now, granted, is a completely different character, but whatever.
Oh, absolutely. Well, they do that a lot. I mean, in the last episode, in Thor's Hammer, the girl who played Kendra was in an episode of Voyager and an episode of Deep Space Nine as two different people, too. So, same thing.
Oh, really?
This is why I get so fascinated when I see people, and I look at who's in MacGyver and who's in all these other shows and see who's threaded through these, because I have that narrative in my head that it's all the same story.
Yeah.
And that, somehow they're the same character in the different things, and they've just changed their name to Hyde or something like that.
Which, that would be so incredible. If it weaved that deep into it, oh my God, I'd be in heaven at that point.
Well, not to derail us for a second.
You're good.
I was on Reddit the other day, and someone had posted a theory that have you ever watched Voyager? You've watched Voyager.
I
right?
have one of my favorite Star Trek shows.
So the guy who played Tom Paris,
correct,
was also in an episode of the Next Generation.
Correct.
It was the episode where Wesley Crusher was in trouble because his team or one of his friends had caused an accident that had killed a boy.
Yep.
And in Voyager, Tom was expelled from, or actually retired from service for an accident that caused this death. And so this theory had that he had gone to the academy under a pseudonym because his father was an admiral and he wanted to hide. He got in trouble. His dad pulled some strings, got him back in, which is why his name is different in the Next Generation episode. And then after that, his recklessness didn't stop because there were no consequences for it. And it happened to him again, and he quit and became Maquis, which I just think is fascinating headcanon, and it plays into my delusions so perfectly.
I've got to tell you, that may be one of the best theories on that particular show I've ever heard.
Oh yeah, this is why I love reading stupid theories like that.
Oh my God, that is fantastic though. Because I do remember the episode in TNG that you're talking of. Because Voyager never really, there's no flashback of his. As far as I remember, there was never any flashback of Paris in the academy or whatnot. You're just told that he was expelled and whatnot, and he was kind of a problem child and whatnot. But Dan, that is fantastic. That is a really good. Was that on a Star Trek subreddit?
I believe it was. Yeah, I'd have to look up who it was, and I want to give him full credit because
yeah.
it wasn't something I came up with.
No. No, just because I wanted to search that. That would be a really good read. So, yeah.
All right. So back to this episode.
Yes.
My biggest problem: why did Catherine Langford never see the body of her fiance or attend a funeral or anything like that?
Okay. And I agree with you. And again, I don't feel like I want to justify this particular episode, okay? Like, this isn't the episode I want to go to bat for. But to play devil's advocate,
then don't.
She's told that he's killed in an explosion, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, but that's all we're told. So we're never actually told that there was no closed coffin funeral.
We weren't told anything.
Now, by not telling us, you're leaving us with the information that she didn't then.
Yeah.
You know?
She just kind of accepted her dad's word that the guy that she was in love with exploded, and she moved on.
And it never addresses. So in that flashback scene, she's like, "Are you gonna tell my dad about us?" And he's like, yeah, I'm all over it."
Her dad knew. Her dad's not an idiot.
He's not an idiot by any means. But I'm more worried. I'm more like, because this goes towards Ernest's fucking character, man. I mean, the guy was just kind of a chicken shit.
He had a couple of screws loose though. I'm still don't quite understand, like, who he was talking about when he kept talking about how she was there on the planet with him. Was that just a delusion? Was he that crazy?
See, I agree with you there. My question with that is same thing as, like, man, was there somebody else there? Was there a race of people there? Because it talks about how they, quote unquote, it sounded like they kind of mapped out the forest. He, they, whatever. They kind of mapped out the forest. He definitely explored the area. Yeah. So it's either one of two things. One, he was just so delusional, but you would think, okay, let's just say that I'm transported to a planet, presumably by myself, like I'm transported there by myself, and presumably there's nobody else there, right?
Yeah.
How long would it take before I started going delusional? I would think at least a year or two.
It'd be 3 hours with me.
Are you serious?
Listen, I'm not stable to start.
10 minutes and you're just fucking imagining everybody and the dog?
Listen, you're the one talking to your dog. I don't know.
But I think that's just it. I think that probably kind of, see, I may be in training for something like this that I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? If I can maintain, maybe that's what's doing it. Me talking to the dog. I would talk to him right now, but he's asleep.
He was naked.
He was absolutely
This guy
naked.
had no qualms being naked, and the only one that didn't seem to have any problem with it like him was Teal'c. Teal'c actually smiled when he got a hug.
Now, in all honesty, if I'm transported to a planet, like we said, and time goes by, X amount of time goes by, and I'm like, holy shit, there's nobody else here. The first thing I'd probably do is get naked. Like, really? Fuck it, why not? You know?
You've been here for half an hour. Why did you rub your junk on everything?
Hey, you got to mark territory just in case. You never know if somebody's coming back. But no, to get right back to it, I'm assuming at this point that she was imagined.
Yeah.
Unless they go back to that planet sometime down the road and they link it, like from years or seasons past, that they link it like, oh no, I was Catherine with Ernest.
No.
I'm assuming the delusion kicked in at some point, and he that was his way of his mind maintaining some sanity, some form of sanity. But even if that's the case, he didn't seem insane.
No.
When they landed,
no, he wasn't. He wasn't. I think it was actually more insane of her to think that he was going to recognize her, so many years on.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Age, I don't know. What was it? 50 years? Is that how long?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So 50 years goes by. You're telling me you're going to notice somebody that the last time you saw them, that person was in their 20s, and now they're 70, and you can identify that person. That's, I don't know, man. Maybe I could do that with like somebody like my sister, somebody that I grew up with my entire life or something like that. But just some chick I met when I was 20. You know?
I mean, I'm not a good case study for that because I'm somewhat face blind and honestly don't recognize my wife unless I remember what she was wearing.
Nice.
But at the same time, yeah, no, I'm not buying it.
No, I'm not either. So, okay, what else about that episode?
So when they're showing Daniel the device,
yes,
this mostly naked old dude yells at him to touch it, and I'm going to have to call no on that one. I'm walking away.
And it was the expression on Ernest's face, dude. His eyes are kind of big, and he's like, just touch it.
Touch it?
Like, oh.
You know, I think I'm going to give this one a miss. Thanks, though.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
We got to go back to Earth.
Just touch the ball, Daniel. No, I did forget that. Yeah. Ernest's face was fantastic right then and there.
Yeah. And then the only other thing I have is when they were connecting the wires to the gate to Ben Franklin, they ran them around the gate and then through the iris, or through the opening itself. So when they open it, that's just gonna cut it. It's gonna fry it.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that. I mean, I'm not.
I mean, if you ever want to go back and see it, it's actually one of the scenes in the opening credits.
Okay.
They use that, so you can see the wires wrapped right around it.
Well, you want to know who's responsible for that?
Carter.
Fucking Carter, dude. It's like she's always trying to get them killed.
Yeah.
She needs to get replaced.
Oh, boy.
But again, I don't know. I felt like the episode in and of itself, okay, it did set up a little bit. It gave you a sneak peek at alien races. It did. Would you say that pretty much sealed the deal on the fact that the Goa'uld did not build the Stargates?
Well, see, yes, I want to say yes, but there was something in this episode where they were talking about how this was the castle of Ra. And so I'm confused. Why wasn't it on the cartouche in Abydos, and why was it off of the Goa'uld network if this was known to Ra? I'm lost on that one.
They actually referred to it as
there was something in there where it was the castle of Ra, and I got lost on that, and I'm not sure why Ra would be associated with this or anything about this planet at all.
He shouldn't be by all the information that we were given at the start of the episode.
Yeah,
is that, well, I don't know. The only thing I can come up with is that maybe it wasn't on the cartouche because Ra was trying to keep that to himself.
Maybe.
Like maybe he did find it. Let's just go into some possible theory here. Maybe he found it right before any of the other Goa'uld found it. He noticed that there was no human life there. There was no host. There was nothing there. It was just a barren planet with the exception of this one castle and this technology on this castle that produced this 3D mapping of elements.
And some information in code.
And some information in code
to figure it out.
So maybe he kind of took that castle on his own to work on deciphering that. Maybe he saw that as, like, I don't think the Goa'uld refer to them as the ancients, but the Goa'uld clearly know that somebody else built the gates, right? So maybe he thought that there was some technology, some power there that he could use for his own and did not want to share that with the rest of the Goa'uld. That's the only thing I can come up with. But even then, for them to call it the Castle of Ra, he would have had to leave his mark on it somewhere. He would have, because as big-headed and pompous as the Goa'uld are, you would think that he would want that to be known this was his,
Oh, he'd want that out there, yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, I don't know. I just thought the whole episode was a bit of a waste with the exception of us getting a sneak peek at two other cultures, or two other civilizations that could be part of the gate building network, whether it be one race or several races that work together to build that. Other than that, man, I just thought, I don't know. I felt like it was a bit of a filler episode. I just did not get a whole lot out of it. Like, it's not that I hated the episode. I don't think I've ever hated an episode. There's just some episodes that I'm just like, whatever.
No, but that's what I love about this show is even the little shit episodes like this, they are built. They're built from and they build towards. And you get just a little bit of information, but that information adds up so well. And everything makes sense in the end. Like I'm watching Andromeda, which I know you haven't seen.
Correct.
But that's a show that, like, the growth in that show makes no fucking sense to the outside world. Where you follow around these 5 people as they try to rebuild, the universe as they see fit. And at no point are we told that there are other people on the ship with them. It's just the 5 that we've been following around. And then literally 3 seasons in, they're like, oh, I'll just have this other guy do it. He's been here the whole time. And there's hundreds of other people on the ship that have shown up at some point, and we were never told that. I don't like that.
See,
I like Stargate.
I would agree with you there. That would the major plot holes in something like that would bother the hell out of me. And I do completely 100% agree with you that even the quote unquote filler episodes, they do still provide you with some continuity throughout the entire arc. Just that for me, I guess, okay, with this episode, for instance, like I said, they at least provide you with something about the different races.
Yeah.
The Asgard, the Furling, the Ancients, and the Nox. But outside of that, I don't know, just everything else, I'm like, really, like, there was no reason to. I think that they could have shown us that information in a better way, I guess. Like, I don't think that they had to necessarily bring Catherine back into it. I don't think that they had to plot hole, and I would call it a plot hole, the fact that they find this information that the Stargate had been turned on in 45, you know? I don't think they could have introduced that planet in a different way that I think I would have been more okay with. I think that's probably really the best way for me to put it. Yeah. And lastly, episode 12, Bloodlines. Go ahead and take it away, because I think we'll both agree, spoiler alert, I think we both agree that it's actually a pretty good episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty decent episode.
Okay.
So this is the episode where Teal'c remembers his son's birthday. No, it's the day that his son is going to get implanted with his symbiote. And he reveals to the SG team that he has a family at all, because he swore that he didn't when he joined them.
Yep.
Which is a fantastic way for that to make sense, that we didn't know this up to now. And he convinces them through, I don't even know how, because it made no sense, that he needs to go back there. And they do. They go back to try to stop it, or not stop it, or catch a baby symbiote, or I'm not 100% sure the motivations again, but it all worked out. So the SG team goes there. They're able to get there in time to stop it from happening, and then they make it happen anyway by stealing Teal'c's symbiote. And then Deus Ex Machina, Daniel and Sam had another symbiote that they had stolen from, just a pot that was laying around, some extra soup. And they managed to give that one to Teal'c, and everybody lives happily ever after, except his wife and kid, who are now double on the run, because they were hiding before, and now they're super hiding or something.
Correct.
Decent episode, though. I really liked it.
I enjoyed it for the same reason I enjoyed Thor's Hammer, is that we get some, and again, as a first viewer, first time you would have seen that show, I don't think you knew how much building off of that they would actually go for.
Nope.
But you do get it. I agree that he probably had to keep that a secret, his family a secret.
Absolutely.
Which I'm okay with that part. I really am. I'm not okay with the fact that he waits until the day before his son's. They had a name for that?
Yeah, I forgot to write it down.
Yeah, I did too. Right before the ceremony, basically, where he gets his first gold larva, or his only, I guess. I don't know why I said first. That would be weird if they just kept rotating those out. We're introduced to Braytak, who later becomes a massive character.
He's one of my favorite characters in this entire series.
I absolutely love him. I really do. Him and this, I know we're going way down, but Carter's father, when that all comes into play, love that character as much as I love the Braytak character, because I think they both kind of bring the same thing to the show, just in different ways. I don't know
that I remember Carter's father. I'm gonna have to figure that out.
Yeah, don't look into that then. Just enjoy the moment. But that was the best thing Carter ever did on the show. But yeah, I did like it. I did like that they go back to Chulak, that they see exactly what would have happened with Teal'c leaving, that he was basically branded a traitor, even by the Jaffa and whatnot.
Yep, and his wife and kid had to move into the whole camp of traitors, which is weird to me, that a camp of traitors exists and they know where it is and they don't just wipe out all of the traitors.
Yeah. So when they get to this again, this is just a small thing, but it bothered me at the particular moment it happened. When they get to Teal'c's house, right, and it's burnt down, and he does his little scene of crying and screaming. Braytak says that his wife and kid went to one of the camps, right? And that these camps are all over. They surround the entire city, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But he doesn't know which one. So Jack goes with Teal'c and Braytak to go check these camps. And he sends Sam and Daniel back to the gate. And he says, you just sit there for 24 hours. If we don't come back, we're not coming back. So Teal'c says, well, which way, Braytak? And he goes, I think they would have gone south. And it was like the first camp they fucking went to.
Of course.
Voila. There it is. Because why not? You know? Because we only have 44 minutes to film this episode. So that was, I took some offense to that, I guess, that I'm like, really? Just happened to be the right, like, again, you could have chose to do that. He could have easily said, well, you know, last time I saw her, she was at this camp. Or, you know, there were so many other ways that I think they could have handled that versus the whole, oh yeah, it's the first one. Here it is. So, but the whole thing is that Teal'c's son has to have the larva, correct?
Yeah, because he's got some sort of disease, and it's going to kill him without it.
Without it, yeah. And Teal'c, being the the good father, gives him his symbiote, cures him, quote unquote cures him, and then, like you said, because why not? Sam and Carter, Daniel and Carter, had just happened to discover another one lying around, and they shove it into his gut, and everybody high fives and we're good to go. But again, it doesn't really end on necessarily a happy note because, like you said, wife and son are now permabanned. I mean, you want to talk about Scarlet Letter? I mean, they've got 2 Scarlet Letters on them now.
Heck yeah.
So all said and done, though, I still thought it was a pretty good episode. I thought it was cool to go back to Chulak. We kind of got to see exactly how that society looks a little bit more. Got to see kind of the result of SG-1's last visit there.
Yeah, it makes me feel better about the whole Chulak thing, because I wasn't clear on why the Goa'uld were bringing all of their little potential bodies there, but if that's the entire home of the Jaffa, then I guess it makes sense.
It does. It absolutely does. Definitely not the last time we're going to be back there.
No.
And I personally think that place just gets better and better. And again, it's when we get more of the Braytak character, when we start getting his own arcs and whatnot, that it gets a lot cooler. I guess it's never really been talked about is the age, like how old Teal'c is. And again, we don't know how old Teal'c is, but we absolutely know how old Braytak is at this point, and that was like 133, 134 years old, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was, again, and it's, even if you throw small things in there, even within that whole episode, there was quite a bit of new material there, but even something small like that, where he talks about, that he's 134 years old, that just adds more to the depth of how the Goa'uld, or how the symbiotes work in terms of slowing down their aging rate,
Yep.
So I thought that was kind of cool, that you just got a little bit more of a sneak peek into that, if you will. You kind of get a touch on Teal'c's human side, his humanity with, having the wife and kid and whatnot.
Yep.
But all said and done, I enjoyed that episode quite a bit. I really did. Didn't have too much negativity to say about that one.
No, I mean, I did think it was the weirdest thermos commercial ever. I mean, they keep hot things hot, cold things cold, and Goa'uld alive, apparently.
Yeah, they do. They need to market that at that point. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Cross-platform marketing.
Oh, God in heaven. See, that was the other thing. I was trying to think. So there was somebody on Reddit. I thought it was pretty cool, but there was somebody on Reddit that said, "Oh, look what I found," and it was a watch that he had from the Stargate show. Did you see that? Thought that was a really cool looking watch. I actually looked on eBay and around. I couldn't really find much information about it. I don't remember necessarily like the marketing side of this movie and this TV show didn't pick up like other sci-fi stuff has. You know what I'm saying? So when you consider a show that was on as long as the entire Stargate collective, between SG-1, Atlantis, and Universe, man, it didn't produce the marketing that a lot of other stuff has that wasn't even on half the length that it was on.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of things from that time frame just didn't. I think that they really didn't look into cross-platform, or maybe they didn't have the rights for everything because they had the rights for TV and not for the merchandising or anything like that for it.
That's probably extremely likely, because the show is right for all sorts of stuff. Now, granted, I know there's comics. I know that there were novels done, especially after Atlantis. And there was a cartoon that lasted, 2 seasons or something like that?
Yes, if even that. I haven't watched it. Apparently it's the weirdest thing in the world.
See, I haven't watched it either. I should. I absolutely should, just to sit down and watch it, but I from what I can gather, it's just hard to get past the credit sequence on that cartoon. But yeah, it didn't, I don't remember. I think that the movie itself spawned some merchandising, like some toys, like a very small line of toys, but it just seems like, man, this show is just right for merchandising, you know?
Yeah, I think I remember a commercial for like the glider as a toy that
Yep.
shot. I'll have to look that up.
No, I think the glider was definitely a toy. I believe you could get SG-1, or I'm sorry, I believe you could get like O'Neill and a couple other people as like character, like as action figures, and I'm pretty sure there was a gold action figure in there. But other than that, man, it didn't spawn much. And that just blows my mind, because usually especially like sci-fi stuff, I mean, they did more, there was more merchandising for like A-Team that I remember as a kid than there was for Stargate, that lasted so much longer, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, half the stuff you find now is just, you know, somebody made a t-shirt, you know, or somebody's selling, you know, their own version of the t-shirts and stuff like that. But
oh yeah, there's so much knockoff stuff on Etsy.
Oh yeah. I was looking at that just last week after we talked about it off cast. I was looking at that, and there is so much stuff on there that's just all pure knockoff stuff. But I don't know. I would have thought that we would have seen a lot more merchandising from all of this. But oh well. I still don't think Stargate's dead. I don't think it's going to be the last time that we go through the gate. I think eventually, maybe it be 5 years down the road, that something's going to get rebooted. Whether it be the movie, the TV shows, something's going to get rebooted down the road. I just think that the property is too massive not to pick back up. And definitely. And even like we talked before we started recording, I mean, even just the subreddit is incredibly popular. It's got a lot of traffic that goes through it, constant new posting. If listeners haven't checked out the Stargate subreddit, I would absolutely check it out. There's a wealth of knowledge there. And there's some great funny post stuff, but yeah. Any final thoughts on those 3 episodes?
No, we've pretty much summed everything up.
Okay, yeah. Thor's Hammer, great. Bloodlines, really good. Torment of Tantalus was okay. I mean, out of those 3 episodes, we definitely got a lot of building blocks. Stuff that we're going to definitely see down the road, which was really, really cool. Thor's Hammer being the best one out of those 3, I think.
I'd agree
hands
with that,
down.
yeah.
Just the introduction to Thor. Again, first-time viewer wouldn't know it, but just the very quick, small introduction to Thor was great. So next week we are going to look at, what are we looking at? Hathor, Singularity, and Core-I. I'm sorry,
Water.
you're right. Fire and Water.
Hathor and Singularity. Yeah.
Okay. We will be taking a week off next week. We're not gonna record Monday. Kevin here is going in under the knife.
Yep, tonsils.
Yeah. God, that's gonna be fun, dude. I'm so glad I got
right.
mine out at a young age.
Turns out I'm only 4 years old.
Wow. You got a whole life ahead of you, buddy.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
If only I was 4 and knew what I know now.
Oh shit, you'd be rich by the time you were 5. So we definitely will take a look at those episodes. We're just going to be taking a week off, and yeah, like I said, week off next week. Back at it following week. I think that now that we're up on iTunes, now that we're up on Google, we typically record these on Monday, and I'm going to try to have these out by Tuesday morning, every Tuesday at that point, moving forward. So please, if you did find us on iTunes, if you did find us on Google, just take a moment, rate it, leave some feedback. It's always great for us. Feel free to hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on YouTube now, and then maybe hit us up on Reddit. I think that we are going to create our own subreddit, and we're actually going to talk a little bit on the Stargate subreddit. So feel free to join us where you can. Thanks for listening. Everyone have a great week.